feeling. Ready the people, a new day has just begun, and I wear my colors on my back. Yeah. We created equal, one race and that's human. Can't wait till they all see that. Saying, oh, can't you taste the feeling? Saying, oh, we all together sing.
All right, welcome to the pitch right here on 32 FM 94.9. You know, this is how we do it every weekend. I will come and talk about just football. Also, you know that we have the BBC Live Premier League update, which definitely would take a center stage by 4 p.m., where we take a look at the fixtures for 4 p.m. That's in the world of the English Premier League. But then, games went down yesterday across different centers, and of course, it continues today, same as tomorrow. A big game set to go down later tomorrow in the Italian Serie A. Well, just as you know it, we have games set to go down where Napoli will be up against Inter Milan, and then in the English Premier League, Chelsea Football Club would welcome Arsenal Football Club, Enzo Maresca and Mikel Arteta. Both managers, they share the dugout with Pep Guardiola. That's at the point in time in their career to become managers of their respective Premier League sides. But then Real Madrid are presently in action. They are the Santiago Bernabeu. Their third game in a row, they are the Santiago Bernabeu. But they are leading by 2-0. But you can tell that one thing has mad Real Madrid's game today, where they have had to suffer 2 injuries. Eder Militao and that's Rodrigo, the man who made a return back to injury. But you can't take anything away from the class in which Real Madrid they use at this point. 2-0, they are up. And I could tell you that it is those who finished that in second and third respectively in the Ballon d'Or rankings. They actually got the goals for Real Madrid. Jude Bellingham scoring his first goal for the 2024-25 season. That's in that encounter against Osasuna. And Rodrigo, well, we talk about the Ballon d'Or points, where the results came out yesterday. Well, Rodri, he won the prestigious award with 1,170 points, and Vinicius Jr., well, he lost by just 41 points, where he finished with 1,129 points, just behind Rodri and his teammate with the Real Madrid team, that Jude Bellingham, he finished third. Well, in case you are wondering where Lautaro Martinez is, he finished seventh, and then Kylian Mbappe finished sixth. Dani Carvajal finished fourth. Erling Braut Haaland of Manchester City, he finished fifth. That's in the Ballon d'Or rankings. Now, so definitely we talk about all of this on today's edition of the program, The Pitch, right here on 32 FM, and you know you're listening to the voice of Oluwatimilai SAMIES the program this afternoon. You know, solely our focus is based on football-related activities. The Nigeria Premier Football League, the CAF Women's Champions League are also set to take center stage this weekend. Well, we will do so well to touch that's all of the games that would be of concern to everyone, and know that we are your friends, where you can call into the studio also 070550949 and 080970949 to definitely be a part of the program. But before we go further, let's quickly talk about Real Madrid, where of course the players who started the game for the Los Blancos, while in that encounter that's against Osasuna, where of course it is half time. Well, we'll take a look at the lineup. Still no place for Thibaut Courtois. Well, Andy Lunin started in goal. Lucas Vazquez captained the side once again. Eder Militao, well, who was unfortunate not to finish the first half, also started the encounter. Antonio Rudiger, Fran Garcia, Federico Valverde, Eduardo Camavinga, Jude Bellingham, and then Rodrigo, Kylian Mbappe, and Vinicius Jr. were the ones who started the game for Real Madrid. But at this point in time, well, Real Madrid, they've suffered that's a defeat now, and well, it is a time to actually bounce back just before the international break. And joining me on the show definitely is Kelvin, and we'll talk about all of these things in which we might expect later today, and then we just take a look at those that happened yesterday also, and we're looking towards the future, what's said go down later tomorrow. Good afternoon, Kelvin.
Oh, good afternoon, Sam. Good afternoon to the beautiful city of Ibadan. It's nice to be here once again to talk sports. A lot has happened in the last week, and of course next week we're going to see the international break. For many, maybe that's the boring side of football, but hey, I'm looking to dissect all of the issues, and of course, we have Madrid versus Osasuna on our screens right now. 2 injuries to Real Madrid, but then they've managed to ground out a 2-1 scoreline from the first half, hoping that they can. Okay, as a Barcelona fan, I'm not hoping, but hopefully they can get something out from this game because of the kind of quality that they have. So let's move on with the show. I'm hyped up. I'm pumped up. Let's get on with it.
Well, hyped up or pumped up. Real Madrid now, they've made another substitution. Lucas Vazquez has also managed to finish that first half, and he has been substituted out. And now we have the veteran midfielder in person of Luka Modric. That's on the field of play. But now I want to talk about Carlo Ancelotti, where in his press conference just before this game, I said that what could make me retire? I would say if Real Madrid fired me. I don't know what will make me stop. My family, no. My wife wants me to continue. So this is a man who definitely, has been, a mainstay when we talk about football in his days with Chelsea Football Club. You know, he still has that record with Chelsea Football Club, if not the somewhat of the best attacking side of Chelsea in the English Premier League. And then we had him with AC Milan, Everton Football Club. He had short stints with all of the sides, and then Real Madrid, where of course he won the La Decima for them, and he has gone on to win 2 more UEFA Champions League titles. And with this man, he actually happens to be the one who has Champions League combined the most. That's as a manager and also as a player. But right now, the statement by Carlo Ancelotti, he said he doesn't think, or he's not thinking of retirement. That's to quit Real Madrid. You know, this actually came after the bad results in which Real Madrid they have suffered in recent weeks. They lost to the hands of AC Milan, they lost to the hands of FC Barcelona, and they were not able to play their game last weekend against Villarreal. That's because of the flooding. And a good gesture for them though. Before this game, they actually had the flag of Valencia that's flown high. That's in their stadium. But this statement by Carlo Ancelotti, can we actually just take a look at it, or what this man means? Well, he said he is not thinking of retirement, and he wants to continue only if Real Madrid they fire him.
Well, the thing is, I think it will be. I'll say for what he has achieved in the world of football, I'd be really surprised if he says he wants to retire at the moment. Look at the Real Madrid side, brimming with quality, and a lot of people say that Ancelotti is a checkbook manager, but then we've seen this same Carlo Ancelotti at Everton, and I could say that before, maybe since the Moyes era at Everton, I don't think Everton have been that good. You watch how they play, not just grinding out good results, but also how the play looked on the eye. It was quite impressive. And then he left them eventually and has been at Real Madrid for the past few seasons, and he has been quite successful. I don't think any manager would want to leave this job. You have some of the best players in the world. I mean, 2, 3, 4 in Ballon d'Or. You have Bellingham, you have Vinicius Junior, you have Mbappe, you have Carvajal. I mean, these guys are literally the best in their positions across the world. So I think it would have been surprising if he had said he wanted to leave. Yeah, I could understand if you say, hey, he's spent a lot of time on the job and maybe he's becoming weary, but it doesn't look like he's becoming weary. One thing that Ancelotti has done over the years is the fact that he has surrounded himself with a lot of young coaches. His son Davide is his assistant. I listened to him when he had an interview with Mikel Obi some time ago, and then he said that one of the reasons why he likes to have young coaches around him is, young coaches see football, and it's not even just football, it's life in general. Younger people tend to see life in a different light. At
the point he had Zidane, when they won the La Decima,
they tend to see things in a different light than what maybe older heads like him do on the job. And he has his son there too, because his son can always talk to him. He said that what other managers or what other assistant managers wouldn't be able to say to him, or what they would say behind his back, his son will be able to come to him and say these things to him. So I think he surrounded himself with a lot of quality managers, young managers who are working as assistants. Like you mentioned Zidane, and look at the great things that Zidane went on to achieve in the world of football, and it's not even, you can say it's just starting. right now, I think he has the Real Madrid puzzle to solve, and with all the quality that Real Madrid have, I don't think he would be interested in retiring from football at the moment. You can't blame him. He's got quality. He has the backing of the Madrid board, so I don't think there's any reason for him to think about retirement at the minute.
Well, we're not thinking about retirement now. We know how Real Madrid operates, but now they've suffered back-to-back defeats, and this game they are halfway through. That's in this game against Osasuna, 2-0. What if Real Madrid have another set of bad turn of results, a bad turnout on the field of play? Don't you think that 𝐃𝐈𝐒 Ancelotti should actually, maybe just quality quit? But I want us to link this conversation to Real Madrid proper now. How the team they've fared since the inclusion of Kylian Mbappe into the side. We know a lot of players are suffering injuries this season, and then we've seen Real Madrid maybe struggle so badly. We've not seen the best of Vinicius of this season. We've not even seen Kylian Mbappe that's his top gear yet. And for Jude Bellingham, he scored just his first goal in this game against Osasuna. At this point last season, he was the leading goal scorer in the Spanish La Liga. Rodrigo in and out of the side. We know his injuries are setting in, and then just their general gameplay as well.
Well, I think for the Bellingham issue, I think it's crystal clear. He isn't playing in the position that he played from last season. Last season you could call him a proper false nine or an attacking midfielder. You know how he always crashed into the box at the last minute to score goals for Real Madrid. But this season he's had to play deep, and you'd understand that because there's a certain Toni Kroos who's no longer in the team, and you also have to look at Real Madrid. They lost one of their best midfielders in their history, Toni Kroos. He retired last season, and it's no easy. It's not an easy situation, as much as and the reason why you look at it is that okay, Madrid should be able to get out from this is because they have a lot of quality players, but then you cannot really underestimate the quality that and the what Kroos brought to that team last season. Obviously, Kroos has left the team. They are reshaping the midfield. Camavinga, Tchouaméni, they are getting more minutes this season. Vardy has been part of the team from last season. He's getting more minutes. All of them all the younger stars are getting more minutes, and it's because of how the brilliance with how Real Madrid have managed to do this. They've been bringing these young stars on, blooding them gradually, and then eventually becoming starters. The only person in that midfield who just came in and became a starter immediately was Bellingham. Aside from Bellingham, the other midfielders, I've had to beat their time, spend time on the bench, watch the older guys do it, and then get into the team eventually. And talking about Real Madrid form in recent weeks, obviously their form has not been good enough, and you have to look at it that I think the major issue with this team now, aside from the midfield, is that forward line. They've got Kylian Mbappe, they've got Vinicius Jr. I personally feel like getting Mbappe wasn't really needed at Real Madrid, and here's why I feel it wasn't needed. This season they needed Mbappe was 2-3 seasons ago when Vinicius was still struggling to find his feet in the La Liga. But then Vinicius has found his feet in the La Liga, and he's not a master of that left flank. And then Mbappe has said it time and time again, I am not a striker, do not play me as a striker.
But even Ronaldo got there, he played a 9.
Well,
he was not a striker at that point.
Well, the thing is, Ronaldo was ready to change. But this guy, it is evident that he doesn't seem like he's willing. Obviously, it's because of the kind of club that Real Madrid are, the caliber of the club, their greatness. That's why he's not even complaining. At PSG, a smaller club, he was complaining that I don't want to play. At Real Madrid, you obviously cannot try it because Real Madrid is a far bigger brand than Mbappe himself. So the fact that they've had to, rejig the forward line, we've seen situations where there's been nobody in the box to get on those balls, and maybe that's why you kind of in a situation like this you kind of appreciate what a striker brings to the team, the presence that a striker brings to the attack. when you have a striker, you know that there's really someone to aim at. But then you've got two wingers who are they're really great wingers. But then what they offer you is space on the flanks, pace forward up front. But then don't really give you that kind of quality. That kind of presence in the final third in the box, and that is what you need a striker for. In terms of defending, they've been pretty decent. They've conceded same number of goals as Barcelona this season. I think they've conceded the same number of goals this season. The only problem has been the attack in the final third. How many goals have they really gotten? So I think they just have to find a way to mix up that attack with the midfield. Get some stability in there. And we know Real Madrid, when they eventually hit that top form, they are an unstoppable machine, and I think eventually they'll get there. They just need some understanding in that attack, Vinicius and Kylian Mbappe, and once that is done, I don't think there will be any stopping them.
Well, you don't think there would be any stopping them? Well, definitely. Let's see how that goes for Real Madrid, where, of course, Kylian Mbappe is standing over a free kick, 55 minutes in that encounter. They are the Santiago Bernabeu. But let's move away from that also and quickly talk about some other sporting stories. Well, result of games went down yesterday, and then for Roberto De Zerbi there in Marseille, that's at home. They lost to the hands of Auxerre by 3-1. And in the Italian Serie A, Empoli and Lecce, they shared the scores 1-1 here in Berlin, and Freiburg in Germany. They played also a 0-0 draw, and Las Palmas got the better of Rayo Vallecano yesterday by 3-1. That was maybe a shameful free kick from Kylian Mbappe, whom, of course, we've discussed about him trying to find his stride there in the Spanish La Liga. This for Marseille at this point, these kind of results, they started the season on fire, missing Greenwood, but at this point they've lost another further ground. That's in the title race there in the French Ligue 1. Well, presently as it stands, we'll take a look at the standings there in France. Paris Saint-Germain, they have 26 points from 10 games played. Marseille are second with 20 points from 11 games played, and then Monaco also, they have 20 points from 10 games played. So it's not about playing the catch-up now, it's about being overtaken by the likes of Lille and Monaco. That's as early as the 11th game in the French Ligue 1. But who could have thought that Roberto De Zerbi would actually maybe have his third defeat in his first 11 games there in France?
Well, you look at Marseille, from where they are coming from, the struggle last season. I think they finished outside the top 7 last season, and in previous seasons they've also struggled. I think personally, I think De Zerbi is doing a decent job at the club. He's second right now on the log. Only second to PSG, of course, who have been farming. They've done that. They don't have place to a farm. They've only gone to a farm, and I think as much as possible we shouldn't try to measure their quality or their performances with what PSG have shown us in previous seasons. However, losing to an Auxerre side who have also been struggling, although maybe in recent weeks they've caught up with form. I think last week they claimed the big 4-0 victory over Rennes, and that was the game that caused their manager to be sacked. So yesterday was an inexcusable result, if you ask me. But then I think we should still cut Roberto De Zerbi some slack. He just got the job. There have been a few additions to the team. It's in Greenwood, Adrien Rabiot, Mbappe. So there have been a lot of new additions to the team. So I think, just give him some slack. Cut him some slack. I mean, the season just started. Even though, they say that from morning we go now, nights go be. But I think it's been a decent start by Marseille standards and what they've been able to do in recent seasons. And I don't think even the board will be complaining at this point. It's maybe when he goes on a bad run of games, when he loses games, that's when they might be like, what's happening? But so far, I think it's been a decent start by their own standards, and maybe they should cut in some slack. And maybe after the international break, it's a chance for him to re-strategize and start getting those wins back on the board.
Well, getting those wins back on board. We actually need to come into the games that are presently going on today. 60 minutes in that game between Real Madrid and Osasuna, still 2-0 in favor of Los Blancos. But in Italy, Venezia and Parma, they are playing out a 1-1 draw. That's at the 23rd minute. That's where they are at this point. There in the English, that's in the Italian Serie A. Well, games are set to go down also today. There in the English Premier League, 4 p.m. kickoff. We have that's 4 p.m. kickoffs. Brentford against Bournemouth. That's at the GTEC Stadium. Crystal Palace against Fulham. West Ham up against Everton. Wolverhampton Wanderers against Southampton. And by 6:30, we would have Brighton and Hove Albion against Manchester City. Liverpool against Aston Villa. That's by 9 p.m. in the English Premier League. Well, we'll still talk about the English Premier League, but then let's just move away from that and quickly talk about some national team football. We're all talking about national team football. We know that players have been called into the folds of the Super Eagles of Nigeria just to respect that call, that game against Benin Republic and Rwanda. Well, our first game in this international window would actually be in Abidjan at the 𝐿𝐹𝐻 Stadium there in Ivory Coast, where, of course, we'll be playing against Benin Republic, and our second game at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium there in Uyo, we're playing against Rwanda. But right about now, the players are called up by Austin Eguavoen, the Nigeria Football Federation. Well, it was a return for Victor James Osimhen. Camp is set to open tomorrow. That's the 10th of November. And then a return for Victor James Osimhen, the reigning present African Player of the Year. Well, this actually is the third goal for Real Madrid and Vinicius Junior. Off a corner kick in which was played, and then Andy Lunin was the man who actually had that assist. So 3-0. Real Madrid, you call it that. They are done and dusted in this encounter against Osasuna. Vinicius Junior. Well, this man. Well, I said we're going to talk about the Ballon d'Or rankings and all of that. He lost by just 41 points to Rodri, and this is just a beautiful piece of play from Andriy Lunin, the Ukrainian, who actually has to set up Vinicius Junior. Mind you, it was Osasuna who played the corner kick. And that was a handball. That's a hard catch, a decent catch from Lunin to release Vinicius Junior, who rounded off. That's the goalkeeper of the opposition team.
You've got to see that criminal defending. You have Real Madrid side who have stars like speed stars like Mbappe and Vinicius, and then you leave your backline open like that. Smart one from Andriy Lunin. I think over the years, in recent years, we've been seeing a lot of assists from goalkeepers, and I think it's a brilliant one for them. Like I said, when this Real Madrid side eventually get going, trust me, they're a machine that can't be stopped. Good one for him, and a good way to to perform just before the international break, and maybe after the international break, they can get their acts together and start winning games. Well,
let's see how they can do that. So moving back to our focus, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, Victor James Osimhen, who missed he missed the last international. Did he miss it? I'm not sure he missed. He didn't miss the last international.
No, he did. Actually, he was injured.
He missed the last international window.
He
missed the last international window because I could remember that game against the game we were supposed to play against Libya, where he also shared his own sentiment on what has happened to him while he was playing in the under-17 team there. And so Victor Osimhen makes a return into the fold of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And also in the squad we have Ballon d'Or, that's the man who finished in the 13th position, Ademola Lookman, who is also favoured to succeed. That's Victor James Osimhen, that's in the reigning African Player of the Year award. Then we also have Gabriel Osho making his name been on the shortlist once again. The first time his name was on the shortlist, he was trading his game with Luton Town in the English Premier League, but he was unable to obey that call because of the injury in which he suffered at that point. And so quickly, I just take a look at the list of players that have been called upon, where we have goalkeepers Stanley Wabali of Chippa United, Maduka Okoye and Amasa Basyoge, defenders William Trostekong, Bright Osai Samuel, Bruno Yemechi, Gabriel Osho, Calvin Basi, Olaoluwa Aino, Victor Collins. We also have the only Nigeria Premier Football League player in that mix as well. He trades his game for Nasarawa United. Then we also have I think that was a lazy play. A lazy play from
a striker right there wouldn't have missed that ball.
A lazy play from Vinicius Junior.
Wouldn't have missed that.
But we have Victor Collins, and then in midfield we have Wilfred Ndidi, Raphael Yedika, Alassane Yusuf. We also have Sadale Bashiru, Frank Oyeka, Alexander Iwobi. Forward Samuel Chukwueze, Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, Kelechi Iheanacho, Victor Boniface, Moses Simon, and the name which has got everyone talking, Sadiq Umar. 8 games, 0 goals for Sadiq Umar in Spain. But then there is a man who has been overlooked. Cyril Dessers has been overlooked. We also have Olatunji, who has been overlooked also. And even players in the Nigeria Premier Football League, all these ones overlooked to make the cuts of this squad of players that are set to represent Nigeria at the last set of games of the 2025 African Cup of Nations qualifiers against the Benin Republic and Rwanda.
Well, decisions like this just make you wonder what those are the helms of affairs are thinking. Sadiq Umar hasn't just been poor in the sense that he hasn't been scoring goals, he hasn't been getting game time. And then when he has played, I've watched him a few times this season, he hasn't played like a player that should be playing at a club like Real Sociedad. His performances have been quite poor. That's why the coach there, Aguasil, hasn't been giving him game time. It's not, a lot of Nigerians, we look at them that, okay, maybe he's not, maybe because he's a black man. A lot of Nigerians like to put out that narrative, but then it hasn't been because of he's a black man. He's been poor, abysmal. And then you now talk about the Cyril Dessers, and to be honest, I don't think Cyril Dessers is any better than Sadiq Umar. Yeah, you can say he has been scoring goals this season. I think he has about 6 goals this season.
But let's hold that thought. When we come back from this break, we'll still pick up from where he stopped, where of course he said that Cyril Dessers is not any way better than Sadiq Umar. Taiwo Awoniyi made the cut last international window. He didn't make the cut, but you can also join us in the studio when the time is right to definitely discuss about this. We'll go now. We'll come back.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression.
ọ̀pọ̀ ló ti sọ̀rì tínú nípa ilẹ̀ rírà látàrí àìrólóòótọ́ tó ṣe fọkàn tán. iléeṣẹ́ Cardiff City Estate lọ́nà àbáyọ fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń pògbẹ́ ilẹ̀ rírà láti fi kọ́lé tàbí dókòwò lórí àwọn ilẹ̀ wọn tó wà ní Mọ́níyà Ìjàyè Road. ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀ ti dé níléeṣẹ́ Cardiff City Estate. ìwọ náà gbéra láti wá rà nínú ẹ̀dínwó ilẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àǹfààní ìsan díẹ̀díẹ̀. plot ilẹ̀ kọ̀ọ̀kan ti dín sí 2.5 million naira. ẹ máa san àsanlẹ̀ 500,000. tẹ́sí máa san yòókù ní san díẹ̀díẹ̀ fún oṣù 12 sí ọ̀fọ̀ tíjọba fòǹtẹ̀lú wà lórí ilẹ̀ wọn. kò sí wàhálà ọmọ onílẹ̀, ètò ààbò tó dájú ń bẹ, àǹfààní tó ń bẹ láti ra ilẹ̀ tó ń tà lẹ́yìn ọdún kan tẹ́ ẹ ti ra ilẹ̀ lọ́dọ̀ wọn pẹ̀lú èrè 30% lórí owó tí ẹ fi ra ilẹ̀ yín lórí gbogbo ilẹ̀ wọn tó wà ní Mọ́níyà Ìjàyè Road. láti wá ra ilẹ̀ fún ilé kíkọ́ tàbí àrà tó ń tà, ẹ máa bọ̀ sí iléeṣẹ́ wọn tó wà ní 38B Ondo Street, Ọ̀ṣuntòkun, Bódìjà, Ìbàdàn, tàbí kẹ́ ẹ pè 0806-508-4778 àti 0916-837-1079. Cardiff City Estate. ṣé ilé ni dúkìá tó fẹ́ tàbí ilẹ̀ tó sì wọ́ láti polówó rẹ̀ lórí rédíò láì ṣe wàhálà kankan? gbọ́ mi, ìwọ gan-an ni àǹfààní bàǹtàbàǹtà yìí wà fún. ìkànnì yín tẹ́ fẹ́ bí ojú ni 32 FM 94.9 Ìbàdàn àti iléeṣẹ́ atalétalẹ̀ tó lóókọ̀ọ́rẹ́ láwùjọ Soft Sands Property lójúmọ̀ gbé àǹfààní tí ò wọ́pọ̀ yìí kalẹ̀. kì í ṣeré o, à ń fi àsìkò yìí ké sí ẹni fẹ́ talétalẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ìwé tó múnádóko láti wá polówó rẹ̀ lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ ká sì bá ta lórí rédíò ní kíá. ẹ̀rí pé yìí pọ̀, àǹfààní àti bá yín ta ilé àbí ilẹ̀ yín lórí rédíò ní kíá láì
láì láyín lò oògùn kankan. Ẹ̀yin sá ti kàn sí wa. Ojú ọgán ni dúkìá yín ó jẹ́ títà fún àtẹ̀ránṣẹ́ àbí ìpè.
091-6461-5000 àti 091-1555-0055.
Tàbí www.softsandsproperty.com láti jẹ́ alábàápín àǹfààní yìí. Àdéhùn àti àsọtẹ́lẹ̀ wà o.
Soft Sand, òrùlé fún tẹrú tọmọ.
Ìwọ náà kọ́ Ọlọ́run ọba màmá ni wọ́n ń pè wọ́n ní ìwọ ni.
Ọlọ́run ló ní orí bẹ́ẹ̀. Bẹ́dùmarè bá gbàdúrà ẹ̀dá tọ́ra ànúgbà lórí sàṣẹlà. Tí Kọ́lá Olóòtú òsú olùgbọ́. Tí ó sì di jàkútẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ olólùfẹ́. Tètò rẹ̀ ò sì rẹ̀yìn. Tó ń fojoojúmọ́ peléke. Àjọ̀dún 40 ọdún Mágàjí Kọ́lá Olóòtú lórí afẹ́fẹ́. Yóò rin kìnkìn. Tọ̀tẹ̀ yìí mú òbítíbitì ẹ̀bùn dání. 5 million naira ti wà ńlẹ̀ kàbàtà. Fún gbogbo olùkópa lọ́jọ́ ayẹyẹ. Ní gbàgede Jọgọ́ Center nìbàdàn. Níbi tí wọ́n ti yí koto. Opportunity tó gá yàtà ńbẹ̀ ni pé Ankara ni tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì. Ìwọ náà wo àwọn ẹ̀bùn tá a fi ṣèfàjẹ́. Tá a ti gbé kalẹ̀ tí mí fúkẹ́. First prize 1 million naira. Second prize plot kan ọkùnrin kan plot kan obìnrin kan. Third prize 500,000. Fourth prize 400,000. Fifth prize 300,000 naira. Sixth prize 250,000 naira. Seventh prize 150,000 naira. Eighth prize 100,000 naira. Àtàkàmọ́yé ẹ̀bùn gbàmábínú Jọgọ́ Center nìbàdàn lálọ́. Súlẹ̀ àlàó màláìkà lélẹ́rẹ́ wa. Àǹkárá ti wà nílé Adésùn. Yẹmẹtù nílùú Ìbàdàn. Nílé Mágàjí Kọ́lá Olóòtú. Òjé Ìbàdàn. Kò ràǹkárá. Kò wọlé kò jẹ̀bùn la fi ṣe. Kọ́lá Olóòtú o. Ìwọ tó ṣe tọdún yìí. Ó sọ̀pọ̀ ẹ̀ láyé. Raṣọ aṣọ ní tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì. Àǹkárá ń tán lọ o. Kò sáǹfààní ojú kejì.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the year 2024 is gradually winding up, there is still a great opportunity for you to own your plot of land and build your dream home under the Ember Plot promo as brought to you by 𝐿TOP Realtors Limited. Just take a step now and become a landowner in any of our following estates located in Ishari North, Arepo, Ewekoro, Shimawa, Agbarato in Ogun State, Ologweru, Ido and Moniya in Ibadan, as well as Epe, Ikorodu, Ibejuleki and Lekki-Ajah in Lagos, including Oka in Anambra State. Under the Ember Plot promo, you stand the chance to enjoy gift that is worth 20% with the initial deposit of 50,000 to 900,000 naira. But if you drop 1 million naira upward, your gift will be worth 30%. Subscribe now and get amazing gifts to enjoy your Ember period. For inquiries, please call our Ibadan office on 0704 100 5004. Terms and conditions apply. 𝐿TOP Realtors Ember Plot promo. You will own your dream house.
Ẹ̀yin fans mi. It's okay. Ẹ lọ sórí gbogbo ìkànnì ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ ní 32 FM 949 fẹ̀yìn ẹ̀ àsáàpù. It's okay.
Onídùkìá kan tó fẹ́ tà, oníbàárà di ìyọnu.
Do you have a property you want to sell and you have issues selling it?
Àbí owó kan wà nílẹ̀ tó fẹ́ fi de dúkìá mọ́lẹ̀ àmọ́ tó rí bọ̀rọ̀.
Or you have capital but you have not seen a property to buy or acquire?
Kò wá nira. Ẹni mọ̀nà látẹ̀lé tí a ò fi ní rìn sọnù. Soft Sand Properties Company ni ọ̀rẹ́ ẹni tó fẹ́ rà tàbí ẹni tó fẹ́ tà. Ṣàtìrì dájú wípé ẹ̀rí máa jẹ́ mi nìṣó wà lórí ẹni tó ní dúkìá. Soft Sand Show láàrin aago 12 kọjá ogún ìṣẹ́jú sí aago 1 lọ́jọ́ Thursday. Lẹ́ẹ̀tì máa gbọ́ kòókòdùn tàbí bẹ̀rẹ̀ tó bá ròyìn lójú lórí ìdókòwò pẹ̀lú Soft Sand Properties Company.
Look no further. Introducing the Soft Sand Show every Thursday from 12:20 to 1 p.m. Tune in to the Soft Sand Show for more information, enquiries, and solutions to your property puzzle.
Ilé-iṣẹ́ Soft Sand, òrùlé fún tẹrú tọmọ.
Soft Sands, created to house the world.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Oh, what a feeling. Look what we've overcome. Oh, I'm gonna wave my flag and count all the reasons we are the champions. There ain't no turning back. Saying,
welcome back. The program is still The Pitch right on 32 FM 94.9. Well, that 5 minutes in which we were away, actually it has been action-packed at the Santiago Bernabeu. Real Madrid leads by 4-0. Vinicius Junior, he had his hat-trick in that game. And then Kylian Mbappe has missed a chance, same as Vinicius Junior in that encounter. But now, we move away from that. We were discussing about Cyril Dessers not being called upon, overlooked. That's I had, and we had that Sadiq Umar being called into the folds of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. But Kelvin, who is with me in the studio, actually isn't of that school of thought. He doesn't buy the idea of a car. So the Deserts are being called upon, saying he does not deserve to be in the Super Eagles squad. Well, saying it does not. Well, there is evidence. We'll keep it as that, and there is evidence. But now, both players, what they've done for their sides this season. For Rangers, they are playing so well in the UEFA Europa League. Then we have Sadiq Umar, whose side are in the Europa League also. Has he even started a game for them in the UEFA Europa League? How many goals does he have this season? Calling players in form is different from calling players to just make up the numbers. If you are calling players to make up the numbers, you should even look inward and take a look at the Nigeria Premier Football League. Of all the players are called upon here, on merit, forwards, Samuel Chukwueze, how is he trading for AC Milan? Victor Osimhen, yes, he scored that's a brace for himself against Tottenham this week. Ademola Lookman, week in, week out, he has been getting the goals. Kelechi Iheanacho, this is another man being called upon. Victor Boniface, Moses Simon, and then Sadiq Umar. We look at these players. Are these really the best legs that we can actually put forward and say that we want to compete with the best of the best in the world? We want to go up high, that's in the FIFA men's ranking. I don't think these guys would actually give us what we want. But there has been substitution made there at the Santiago Bernabeu, where Vinicius Jr., after his hat-trick, is out of the field of play and being replaced by another Brazilian, that's Hendrick. Then we also have that's another player being substituted in that encounter, and that is Brahim Diaz. No, not Brahim Diaz at this point. We also have another player being substituted, where, of course, we will get the name and definitely put that to you from the game going on there at the Santiago Bernabeu. But it's 76 minutes gone in that game, and we have that 14 minutes they're about to play for that in that encounter.
Well, talking about the... When you listen to when I saw this squad, and it's not even just the current call-up from the last call-up, from the previous call-up, I personally think Iheanacho had no business on that team because he's not been playing games and he's not been in form. He's been struggling at Sevilla, and I think it's high time you actually start calling out Iheanacho, because I mean, you look at it, while he was at Leicester City, we said okay, he's not been getting game time. Maybe it's a problem of the club. The manager doesn't like him, and then you've gone to a Sevilla side where the manager has actually been saying good things about you. He's been saying, okay, yeah, he's going to give you game time, you are going to play, and then the chances you've gotten to play, you haven't exactly impressed. I mean, look at Chidera Ejuki. He got his chances when the season started. He started from the bench, but when he got his chances, he actually looked impressive on the ball. And before his injury, he became a starter. Iheanacho should have, Iheanacho by now, we said, okay, he's a technical player. He's a player that could thrive in the La Liga because La Liga is a technical league. But then you've gotten the opportunity to play in the La Liga and then you're not performing. So I really think there's really no chance for it. There's no reason why he was included in that team. I don't see any reason for his inclusion. Same with Sadiq Umar. And why I feel like Desas isn't exactly a better option is because I've seen this guy in the Scottish Premier League, and I'm sure when you ask a lot of Rangers fans about Cyril Desas, most of them will tell you that they don't want him in their team because, as much as he's gotten the goals, believe me, he's missed a whole lot more. There are chances when you think that a striker should be able to put in the back of the net that he hasn't been able to do. His last call up during the friendly games against Mali, I think that was earlier in June or May, he really didn't impress too. He had a good opportunity to score and he didn't score. I mean, yes, he's been scoring goals at his club, but then you feel like he should be doing a whole lot more. So I don't think he's necessarily better than Sadiq Umar. I think what the NFF should have done would have been to look at the home-based Eagles or players in the NPFL. I think he should have given those slots to players in the NPFL. 𝐃𝐈𝐒 𝐂𝐿 hasn't been playing for Nottingham Forest. His certain Chris Wood has taken over his place. So I think the NFF should have been, and this is the point where there have been a lot of cries for players in the NPFL to at least get a shot at being in the national team, because then if you look at it, at the end of the day, these guys are really not going to play.
Yeah, of course. There's Victor Osimhen.
The first choice striker set in stone is Victor Osimhen. The second choice striker is Victor Boniface. So these other guys are really not going to play. They are just going there to make up the numbers, and maybe, God forbid, which has never happened, our two strikers get injured and then you are looking for a third choice striker, which has actually never happened. So I think the NFF should have just given these slots to players based in the NPFL instead of wasting it on players that are not performing at their clubs. They are not doing well at their clubs. Awoni has been struggling. Desas has been scoring, but then you look at his performances, largely underwhelming. Sadiq Umar is the worst of the pack because he's at a Real Sociedad side that is not even performing. I really don't think a player like Victor Olatunji has done enough to get a call-up. The player I was even thinking by now should have maybe gotten a look in is a certain Chuba Akpom, who has been quite decent at Ajax. You watch him play and then, okay, this guy actually does have quality. When does he get the call-up? The call-up still hasn't come after how many years and how many months. So I think moving forward, the NFF have to look inward, have to look at the NPFL, give these players chances. Moreover, the CHAN is coming up. I mean, give these guys a feeling of what it is to be in the national team. Moreover, 𝐒𝐒 is their coach, is the coach of the CHAN Eagles. So I mean, just give these guys an opportunity to be part of the first team squad, even though they are not going to play. Just give them an opportunity instead of wasting it on established players who really aren't performing well in Europe at the moment.
Well, let's see how that goes. We'll still come next week to discuss about the Super Eagles of Nigeria, where our first game will be against the Benin Republic and the second against Rwanda here in Nigeria. But moving away from that now, let's quickly take a look at some scorelines also from the games going on presently in Germany. The 3 p.m. kickoff or 3:30 p.m. kickoff started. Mainz are up against Borussia Dortmund. St. Pauli are up against Bayern Munich. Werder Bremen are up against the 𝐾 Bochum, are up against Victor Boniface Bayer Leverkusen. But for Victor Boniface, did he start that game? For Victor Boniface, he didn't start the game. He started that on the bench, where Patrick Schick leads the line for Bayer Leverkusen. And for Bayern, up against St. Pauli, they left it late to defeat that Benfica in the UEFA Champions League encounter, and Vincent Kompany for Bayern Munich as they go away to St. Pauli. That's this weekend, and the game definitely has started. Harry Kane, the man is still in the line kicks. The Coman, Jamal Musiala, Leroy Sane, Joshua Kimmich, Leon Goretzka, Alphonso Davies, Kim Min-jae, Dayot Upamecano, and Rafael Guerrero, and led by captain Manuel Neuer, who is in goal. But all right, in Italy, towards the end of the first half of Venezia, they are still playing out a 1-1 draw against Parma. But then lineups for the games, that's the 4 p.m. kickoff in the English Premier League. It is out at this point. And then we'll quickly take a look at some of the games set to go down. Crystal Palace against Fulham. Then we have Brentford against Bournemouth, West Ham against Everton, and Wolverhampton Wanderers against Southampton. Those are the 4 p.m. kickoffs. So quickly, a rundown of the starting 11 of both sides. For Brentford, they have Mark Flecken in goal, Sip van der Berg, we have Ethan Pinnock and Nathan Collins, Mikkel Damsgaard, Matthias Jensen, Vitaly Janlet, Christian Norgard, Ken Lewis Porter, Jan Wissa, and then Brandon Buemo. For Evan Nielsen, he starts for Bournemouth. Remember, Evan Nielsen, he got that second goal, which definitely put the game to bed for his side when they were up against Manchester City last weekend. Antoine Semenyo, Justin Kluivert, Tyler Adams, Ryan Christie, Lewis Cook, Adam Smith, Ilya Zabanye, Marcos Sensai, and then Milos Keskes and Kepa Arrizabalaga, who also makes a return to the goalkeeping spot. Is in action against Brentford. And for Crystal Palace, they are up against Wu Fuam, and Mark Way, the captain of the side, Maxence Lacroix, Nathan Klein, Dean Anderson, Tyrick Mitchell, Daichi Kamanda, Trevor Chaluba. Well, in midfield, Daniel Munoz, that's Ismail Assar, Justin Devney, and Jean Felipe Mateta. Raul Jimenez starts up front for Marco Silva's side, Alexander Iwobi, Miss Mitro, Brice Nelson. Well, you call this I've forgotten Arsenal's academy name now. 𝐒𝐻𝐿, the 𝐒𝐻𝐿 boys, you call that. Then Andres Pereira and the Badge, Anton Robinson, Calvin Bassey, Joachim Anderson, Kenny Tete, and Bandleno. There is no space. There is no space for the man who actually got the winner. The brace for them when they were up against Brentford last. That was a Monday Night Football. That's Wilson. Well, maybe he see as some of his locker if he comes off the bench once again today. And then until another game set go down by 4 p.m. Lucas Fabianski, Emerson Palmieri, Max Kilman, Jean Claire Todibio, Aaron Wan Bissaka, Thomas Suchek. That we also have Guido Rodriguez, Christos Somerville, Lucas Paqueta, Jared Bowen, the captain of the side, and Michael Antonio. And then for Everton, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Jesper Lindstrom, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Ilman Ndiaye, Aurel Mangala, Idrissa Gueye, Ashley Young, James Tarkowski, Jared Brathwaite, Vitaly Mykolenko, and Jordan Pickford. And into the last 4 p.m. kickoff game, last Wolverhampton Wanderers against Southampton. Jose Sarr, Totti Gomez, Craig Dawson, Santiago, that's Bonu. We also have Wright and Nori, João Gomez, Mario Lemina, Nelson Semedo, Pablo Sarabia, Matheus Cunha, Jorgen Strand Larsen, all starts up front for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And for Southampton, Cameron Archer, Adam Armstrong, Flynn Downs, Adam Slalana, Matheus Fernandes, Manning, Stevens. We also have Bedranek, the man who also was called up by the Lions of England, Harold Bellis, and Kyle Walker-Peters. Our starts. And for Ramsdale, who also makes a return into the Lions of England squad. He's in goal.
It's actually an interesting fixture because for the Wolverhampton coach, his name doesn't come to my head right now. I think it's the last chance saloon for him. If he doesn't win this game, if he doesn't win this game, I think he's going to get the sack. Join Ten Hag among the managers that have been sent packing from the Premier League this season. It's a do-or-die game for Wolverhampton because they are hovering over the relegation zone, and for a team of that kind of quality, you feel they should probably be doing more. So if he doesn't get a win, maybe a draw could buy him maybe 1 or 2 more games. But if he doesn't get a win today, I think it's safe journey to him.
Well, safe journey to him. Wolverhampton Wanderers alongside Ipswich Town are the only winless side in the English Premier League. While Southampton, they got their first win last weekend against Leicester City. And of course, that was their first clean sheet also for the season. Well, all right. The big games are set to go down later tonight and tomorrow. That's Liverpool against Aston Villa, and then Brighton and Hove Albion against Manchester City. And so where do we pick it from? Should we pick it from tomorrow, or we start straight from the ones that are set to go down tonight?
Let's go for the ones today.
Well, now Liverpool against Aston Villa. Myself and Peter, we discussed this yesterday. Maybe there's not much we would actually want to say, but then on the back of 3 consecutive defeats, Aston Villa. And on the Aston Villa, on that's Unai Emery would be wanting to go to the Anfield and maybe pick up a result and spoil the party for Ancelotti. So would definitely say that he is not surprised by the start in which Liverpool they've had this season.
Well, for Aston Villa, they've been struggling this season. Yes, they defeated Bayern Munich in the Champions League, an absolutely brilliant performance. They've also gotten 2 other wins in the Champions League, but I think they've been largely underwhelming. They've not been the Aston Villa that we saw last season. They've been majorly reactive. When I say reactive, I mean they've often waited for opponents to take the initiative before actually getting into the game. I saw them against Ipswich. Ipswich looked really nice against them. A few other games they've had to, they've been conceding goals a lot. Their star man Oli Watkins hasn't been firing on all cylinders as we know he can, and unfortunately for them, the goals for Duran have sort of been drying up. I mean, it's not Christmas. You can't come every day from the bench and then score. there has to be some sort of consistency in how you play. Going into the game, I think Liverpool are odds-on favourite, obviously, because of how they've been playing in recent weeks. You see how they totally demystified and destroyed by Leverkusen in midweek. So I think, of course, Liverpool are favourites to get the win against Aston Villa. A lot of their players look really good right now. Gravenberch has been an absolute engine for the team. Mohamed Salah looking like he can never grow old. Luis Diaz scored the hat-trick in midweek. So I think it's Liverpool look really good at the moment, and the slot has been able to effect some changes that have made the team tick really well. A slight deviation from the club style with a bit of control in midfield and more coordinated attacks. So yeah, going into that game, I think there's no way. I really don't see Aston Villa defeating Liverpool. Maybe getting an early goal would be nice to see how Liverpool react to it and if they can, block off.
But would every day be Christmas for Liverpool also?
Now the thing is,
conceding the early goal and maybe coming back to win.
The thing is, it's not just been that it's been Christmas. They've actually been playing well. Liverpool have actually been playing well in most of their games. There are really few games aside from the game against Chelsea. I don't think any team has really dominated Chelsea. Dominated Liverpool like that. Even the game against Chelsea, I don't think they really dominated like that. So yeah, it's not been a case that okay, they've not been playing well, but they've been getting the result. They've actually been playing well, and the results have been coming as a result of the fact that they have been playing well. The coach looks like someone who knows what he wants to do. We've seen them come from the break on certain occasions, and they've looked like a renewed side. They've brought in a lot of energy into the second round. So I think I really don't see Aston Villa getting anything from this one. I think it's all Liverpool in my books.
Well, all Liverpool in your books. Quickly, we have the other game set to go down today. That's Manchester City against that's Brighton and Hove Albion. Well, I think myself and Peter, we've discussed a lot. We actually just took a look at the rundown of games set to go down. But let's take a listen to the words of Pep Guardiola speaking about what to expect from Manchester City and what they will do in order not to lose more ground. That's in the English Premier League. The words of just Pep Guardiola.
Players aren't used to losing one game, never mind three. What have you said to them this week?
It's different competitions.
But have you had to reassure them a little bit? Bernardo, for example, seemed very, very down after the game on Tuesday.
I don't think so. We said that of course we are not used to play 3 games in different 3 competitions, but it's football, it's happened, so we know the reason why we are struggle. But yeah, looking for that game and after international break, and after that a few players will come in back better and recover, and for all the problems that we have, a little problems that every player have, we will solve it. I hope so.
They say you learn more about your players when they've lost a game than when they're winning. What have you learned about your players this week?
Absolutely anything, because I know them for 9 years. So they prove many times what they are capable of.
Well, all right. Today, listen to the words of Guardiola speaking about the players. They would come back. He has learnt from them 9 years with Manchester City, and of course they still are going stronger. Well, I think that's actually a good one, but let's see how Manchester City can end the run against Brighton and Hove Albion. 3 consecutive defeats, forced to they lost their first game. I've forgotten the team they lost to now. I knew they lost to the hands of Sporting. They lost to the hands of Tottenham. Okay, they lost to Tottenham, they lost to Bournemouth, and then they lost to Sporting. That's in that order. But now, how do they really come back against Brighton and Hove Albion, who also are actually playing good football, but they were just quite unfortunate last weekend to lose to the hands of a Liverpool Football Club, who only needed 5 minutes of brilliance?
Well, it's not today that Brighton are losing games. They are a unique team, in as much as they've shown quality. They are quite, they perform. They beat a big team today, put up a really strong performance, and then the next week they could lose to a smaller team. So going into the game, I think Guardiola has a big job on his hands. It's his worst run of games. I don't think he's had his worst bad run of games since he took over as Manchester City coach, losing 3 games in a row. I think he needs to talk to the players. I think now it's not even a case of maybe they are missing a few players. I think it's a case of the mentality at the moment. They're not really playing to their full potential. One man that people have not really criticized a whole lot has been Erling Haaland, and it hasn't been vintage Erling Haaland recent weeks. He's been missing a whole lot of chances in the final third. Maybe they are missing some bit of creativity in midfield and the solidity of Rodri, but then you'd expect that a side like Manchester City, who have been able to gather a lot of trophies over the last few years and stamp their authority in Europe, should be able to find a way to play without Rodri. For all Brighton as well, both sides play quite similar. The high press, try to beat the opposition, and then play a precise pass in the final third to open opportunities for them in attack. So I think it's hard to call this one because of how Manchester City have been in recent weeks. Ordinarily, even when Manchester City were in form, it should have been a difficult fixture because they are also going to play the game at the Amex Stadium. So it's a hard one for Guardiola at this point. Hopefully, for their sake, they can get a victory and then try to re-strategize during the international break, so that they can put on a good run of results and give a proper title chase to Liverpool, who are topping the table at the moment.
Well, the full time it is there in Spain at the Santiago Bernabeu. Real Madrid, they ran out victorious against Osasuna 4-0. Vinicius Junior hat-trick and Jude Bellingham's strike. That was the goal scorers are 4. That's Real Madrid. But now, as we are getting set to get out of the studio and team up with our partners, that's the BBC Premier League updates for the 4 p.m. kickoff. Well, all right. On Sunday, it's a big one. Then the English Premier League, Chelsea 8-0 winners against the Noir Football Club. That was on Thursday. They'll be up against Arsenal Football Club, whom also have gone on a run of that's just 1 draw in their last 4 games, losing 3 games. And now the struggle for Arsenal Football Club happens to be they are sweating for the fitness of that's Declan Rice, while Chelsea also are sweating for the fitness of Cole Palmer. But Mikel Arteta insists that Arsenal Football Club they are on the rise this season. Well, I don't think that is true, but Mikel Arteta believes his side are on the rise and they just need to get to the 100%, stating that they are on 95%. Let's take a listen to what Arteta also says.
We don't need a reset. We need, in one particular aspect, go from 95 to 100. I'm not going to tell you what that is. There is nobody impossible in this room or outside that wants to win more than I do and that these guys in the dressing room wants to do. It is impossible. So that desire today, I had a meeting with them about it and I can sense it straight away.
Well, all right. They listen to the words of Arteta. Let's also listen to the words of Maresca, sweating about the fitness level of Cole Palmer.
If he can walk and have dinner, this means that he is completely fit.
Came back for his pudding too.
Yeah. He's getting better, and hopefully we have still 2 days, tomorrow and Saturday, to prepare the game, and hopefully we can have him for the session at least Saturday, and then we take the decision.
Well, all right. They will see if Cole Palmer would join them. That's in training later today. But then, what do we expect from this big game set to go down this weekend? Chelsea Football Club against Arsenal.
Well, I think it's a finely poised one. Of course, both teams are from London, so of course it's a derby. You'd expect all the fireworks that come with derbies. I think it's going to be quite an open game, and actually, if both teams have the full complement of their squad. Not having Cole Palmer would be a big miss for Chelsea because of what he brings to the attack. In as much as they've been scoring goals plenty this season, you also have to look at the fact that Cole Palmer seems to be like the most intelligent player whenever he's on the pitch for Chelsea in terms of how he creates opportunities for them. I mean, you look at them in some of the games that they've not really performed well this season. I think last weekend or 2 weeks ago against against Manchester United, Cole Palmer didn't really see much of the ball. So I think a key for Chelsea will be getting Cole Palmer on the ball a lot. Martin Odegaard will be back in action against Chelsea. So I think that should create a bit of attacking threats for Arsenal, in addition to what Saka brings to the table. I don't think there have been talks about Kai Havertz. I don't know how fit is going to be for the fixture, but I think Declan Rice would also be a miss because of the kind of solidity he brings to the back line for Arsenal. So I'm expecting quite an interesting fixture. I don't think it will be the ball fest or championship-like game that we saw between Chelsea and Manchester United last weekend. I think it's going to be quite an interesting game. Arsenal are going to go for it. Chelsea are also, because obviously Arsenal have to go for it because they are lagging behind in the race for the Premier League title, while Chelsea, obviously because of how they play, they are going to open up spaces in the defense and also going to create something, a few opportunities in the final third. So I'm expecting fireworks tomorrow when both teams line up. So yeah, promises to be an interesting one, and hopefully we'll see goals in that fixture.
Well, hopefully we'll see goals in that fixture as we will just get set to pack our bags. But then in Germany, Bayer Leverkusen through Patrick Schick, they found the back of the net against Bochum, and Jamal Musiala, the German international, scored 4 that's Bayern Munich against St. Pauli. Borussia Dortmund, they've been reduced to 10 men there in Germany, where Emre Can, he has definitely gotten his match in order after a foul as early as the 27th minute. But as we are set to join our BBC Premier League update, that's for the commentary of the game between Wolverhampton Wanderers and Southampton, as well as other games in the English Premier League. Well, for Wolverhampton Wanderers, they scored early in that game against Southampton. Pablo Sarabia, assisted by Matthias Cunha, will found the back of the net against Southampton. Thank you so much, Kelvin, for joining me on the show this afternoon.
It's been a pleasure. Let's do this again.
Well, till we meet, that's on Monday, Scoreboard in 15, Scoreboard Reloaded. It promises to be an exciting weekend. I am SAMIES, the sport captain. I say do enjoy the rest of the day, and bye for now.
Look how far we come now. There's beauty
here at Molineux. Wolverhampton Wanderers are already leading by a 1-0. So wherever you are in the world, always a pleasure to have your company here on BBC Radio 5 Live. And with 5 Live, announcing during the week that from next season, even more Premier League commentaries than ever before for the next 4 seasons. Then if you are continuing to listen to the World Service, we hope that that continues too. As Fernandes will run forward on that far side. Glides away from one challenge, threads the ball forward. Manning is ahead of him on that far side, the left, but well closed down by Semedo. Out it goes to a Southampton corner kick as they trail by a 0-0.
Does well, Fernandes. Manning excellent on the outside of him, gets the overlapping. Looks like he's going to put it across, but it ends up being a good block in the right back position by Nelson Semedo. Southampton have reacted well since they've conceded the goal. They've had all the possession and now they've gone up the other end, they've got themselves a corner.
So it's a corner kick to Southampton, far side the left. There is a player down, it's Sarabia, who's sat down just on the edge of the penalty area. Thomas Bramall, the referee, is calling on the 2 physios. So there's going to be a stoppage in play. There's a real chill in the air, isn't there, here today?
It's cold, isn't it? It's certainly turned. It's definitely winter now. The heated gilet coming out next week, is it, Mr. Dennis?
Possibly, it might have to.
We're just getting to see a replay of that goal as well. It was a turnover possession. Matthias